Hello and welcome to The Walk Home, a new reviews podcast. My name is Daniel Boyd, and that's very sarcastic girl next to me. He's quoting me going, "What is so funny?" This is twice we've done this intro now, and both times she's laughed. What? Why?
I find you a very funny person.
So you should.
Carry on.
Anyway, yeah, this is a reviews podcast. We're going to talk about movies and other stuff that I listed before that I can't remember listening again. So
Films and books and
Yeah.
TV shows and
yeah, all that shit.
plays, even though I'm the only one that pays attention to plays.
All that good stuff. But yeah, you're an acting student, so you know a thing or two about
Well,
acting.
I hope so.
Since you're doing, just as you fucking fourth year, I was expecting to know something at this
Skated
point.
by for 4 years.
And I'm just a film geek, to be honest. I'm not, I don't do anything in film. I'm just a total nerd. I just love Fight Club and
You're an animation
Tarantino
student.
and I
So
suppose.
you're an
And
animator.
I've grown up with Stanley Kubrick and
Growing up. That's funny.
Scorsese and shut up. I'm trying to do this podcast. You just take the piss already. We've not even got into the crux of any issue yet.
I thought you said this was meant to be fun.
Right, so shut up. Right, so the normal format will be, we'll kind of think about this for a while, but it'll be first 15 minutes. We'll go and see a film, right, and then like either night we come home or like the next day we'll do like a first impressions. We'll talk for like 15-20 minutes,
Probably the next day.
and then I'll go away, and then next between like that Saturday and the next Saturday I'll write a review. And then I'll get Courtney with it because she's got a good range voice being an actress and stuff, and I don't.
thank
I
you.
mumble and stuff. So, but I'm clearly the writer out of the two of us.
Oh, okay.
I'm the intellectual. You're just the you're. I'm the brains and you're the brawn, right?
I'm the dancing monkey.
Uh-huh.
Okay, that's fine.
And then at the end, the night before we go and see the next movie, we'll talk about the movie in hindsight after having a week to digest it and think about it and. But another kind of 15-20 minute conversation. I know I like it was spliced together in like a 40-50 minute podcast. But this week, because it was your birthday the other day, and it's
Yay.
well tomorrow, and it's your birthday
Tomorrow.
party the other day, and there's loads of movies coming out and now stuff. We're going to do it a bit different for the first episode. We're just going to talk about a movie, and then we're going to have a discussion first about Bleed for This, which is the movie that we saw last Thursday.
Yep.
And it's Monday today. No, it's Tuesday. No, it's Monday. Your birthday tomorrow. It's Monday today. I've since written a review and stuff, but we're going to have our discussion first, and then Courtney's going to read my review. But I'm going to edit it so the review's first, so that you guys can hear the review
Don't tell
and the
them
score.
That. It takes a
I peek behind the curtain, right? Shut up. I'm a heart in my sleeve kind of guy.
Oh, are you?
So we do that, get
Don't
that
let me
score,
know that.
and then you can hear us discussing that in a bit more detail.
This is a review for Bleed for This, an exaggerated retelling of an already unbelievable story. So Bleed for This was directed by Ben Younger and stars Miles Teller as real-life boxer Vinny Pazienza, and it tells the story of his extraordinary comeback after a life-threatening traffic collision. The most important part of this movie for me were the performances. I remember when I first saw Taylor in roles like 21 and Over, the Footloose remake and Project X, and I didn't think anything of him as an actor. Then I saw The Spectacular Now and Whiplash, and I realised that this guy is a fantastic actor, and he clearly just took on a few throwaway roles in order to get his name in the mouths of Hollywood bigwigs, and now he's pretty well known. He can make movies of a higher standards that he wants to do himself. Since then, he has made some questionable decisions like That Awkward Moment, Fantastic Four, and the Divergent movies, but films like War Dogs and this film Bleed for This remind me that this guy is here to stay, and that he has the potential to become this generation's Gyllenhaal, Bale or DiCaprio. So Taylor plays Pazienza as a guy that isn't the greatest fighter that has ever lived and isn't a perfect person who has his vices, but is also a contender for having the most determination and relentlessness out of any boxer in the history of the sport. The story is massively inspirational and really does make you feel pathetic and insignificant by comparison, but the enthusiasm, passion and energy that Taylor brings to the role means that he can still portray this larger-than-life character in a realistic and engaging way. Aaron Eckhart is also fantastic in his role here as Vinny's trainer, Kevin Rooney. His physical transformation is impressive also, and it serves as a great reminder of what a fantastic and underrated character actor Eckhart is. The relationship and chemistry between the two of them is also believable and engaging throughout the movie's runtime. Ciarán Hinds and Katie Sagal play Angelo and Louise Pazienza, respectively, and both deliver in their roles. Sagal takes a break from her dominant matriarch role to play more of a subdued and level-headed motherly figure, and Hinds is just unrecognisable as Vinny's father Angelo. I'm not an actor, but I don't imagine that this was an easy role to play, as Angelo is a very conflicted character in the real life, and Angelo Pazienza also wrote the original script for the movie, so Hinds' performance had to be spot on. If you take away the cast and the high standard of performances that they deliver, though, I don't know exactly what you have left. Younger's direction is functional, but the director is never the star in the movie. The sound mixing, lighting and editing are all, again, functional, but none are particularly notable. The cinematography is at times great. One particular highlight is during the Duran fight, but for the most part, it isn't anything overly special, and the writing is, for the most part, pretty good, but is also fairly inconsistent. What I mean by this is the first 3/4 of the movie is well written and contains natural, believable dialogue, and the tone is realistic and stays away from Hollywood bullshit cliche nonsense, right up until the speech before the last round of the Duran fight. The last fight in the movie where Eckhart screams, "Show me who you are!" directly into Taylor's face. And while this isn't Eckhart's fault, this moment sticks out like a sore thumb in an otherwise unexaggerated retelling of the true events the movie is based on. I feel that the awkwardness of this forced, kind of made for TV movie moment lies solely with the writers of the film. This is why the piece of dialogue was left in and wasn't tossed aside immediately after being written is truly beyond me. And from that point on, everything wraps up extremely nicely, almost too nicely, as in to the same extent as Rocky IV. And don't get me wrong, I fucking love Rocky IV, but that happy ending fitted the over-the-top cheesy nature of the film, and it just doesn't work here in the content of the rest of the film, like the rest of the movie's tone. I also feel that this movie came out at an unfortunate time. 2015 saw the release of two boxing movies, Southpaw and Creed, which actually starred one of Taylor's friends, Michael B. Jordan, and 2016 as already saw the release of Hands of Stone, which tells the story of Roberto Duran, who is actually featured in Bleed for this as well. Therefore, this movie had to do a fair bit to stand out from its peers, and while I think that this movie is better than Hands of Stone and I'd probably put it on par with Creed, I don't feel that it does enough to really stand out from its competition. Southpaw still remains my favourite of the four, and as an aside, there is another boxing movie coming out in February next year starring Naomi Watts, Ron Perlman and Liv Schreiber called The Bleeder, and that will tell the story of Chuck Wepner. That is a movie that I really feel sorry for, and I would imagine it will be probably the last boxing movie made until Creed 2. Anyway, in summary, Bleed for This tells an incredible story, and if it wasn't based on a real life fighter, you would swear that the idea of a boxer coming back from a fractured neck to win a third world title is unbelievable Hollywood nonsense. Regardless, Pazienza is an incredible human being, and I do feel that this story did him justice. It's just a shame that instead of honouring him via a realistic version of the extraordinary events of his life, the filmmakers decided to go with an exaggerated version of the man's greatest victory. And that actually is the most annoying thing. And the victory was already so unbelievable and astonishing that there was really no need to overdo it with some corny inspirational dialogue, and without it, this movie would have received a much better score in my opinion. I feel that a lot of people will leave this movie with a sour taste in their mouth due to the speech at the movie's finale. Overall though, I did enjoy my time with this film, and while this is clearly an oversaturated market at the minute in Hollywood, so are comic book movies, and I don't really see them going anywhere anytime soon. So I'm giving it a 7.5 out of 10.
Okay, we're back. Swift editing cut there, I'm sure. Future Daniel will sort that out. So, Daniel, it's not even made the fucking logo yet for the podcast. But anyway, yeah, so we saw Bleach for us on Thursday, and
it was amazing.
Yeah, it was good.
I really liked it.
You were definitely more up on it than me.
Yeah.
You are not only an actor, you're also a boxer, you know. So you have ties to this maybe more than one way, I suppose.
I have a passion behind it.
I'm a fan of boxing films, but I wouldn't even say I'm a fan of like boxing in real life. Do you know what I mean? Not
because he's a wimp.
Not a massive fan. No, but not even doing it. Like just not even watching it either. Do you know what I mean? Like Conor McGregor and.
But I like it. That's not boxing.
I know, but that's MMA. It's close enough, right?
No.
And like.
Different sport.
Right, okay, well, if talking about boxers, like people like Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson, people like that, I respect.
Jake Eric and McFarlane. Because
they could all kill me in a heartbeat. But I don't know, I've just never been a big fan of boxing. But I've always liked, again, like films about boxing, and I like boxing video games, and I like, you know, I do like the sport, I wouldn't sit and watch, I just watch a film before I watch a boxing match, do you know what I mean?
I would watch both.
And I would never go to the gym and do it because I'm lazy as all hell and stuff.
I would.
But, yeah, so, what did you think in terms of the kind of authenticity to real boxing? I mean, this is based on a real story, a true story. So,
obviously, it being based on.
Do you think it was legit?
Yeah, obviously, it being based on a true story always helps, but the fact that it's a film does.
Well,
dramatise it.
There was a particular point that I turned around to you and I said, did they really just fucking put that in?
Yeah.
They just made it into Rocky 4. Like, we'll talk about that later, we'll get to that, but.
Yeah. Like, obviously it is cheesy, but the fact that it is such a real life success story is amazing, because it looks like somebody has wrote a cheesy story and they've not. So, like, the gist of it.
I said this in my review.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've not read the review.
I know. So. No, she's not read the review because I wanted fresh impressions from her.
Oh, thanks. Because I'm not capable of
from your own opinion.
Thinking independently.
No, but I don't want to hinder your thoughts. Just go.
Totally lost my train of thought.
You the boxing, how real it was, how true it was.
Yeah. So, seeing the training and seeing the fights, I felt like the fights were filmed really well to kind of get across what it's like when you're in a boxing ring, and it's not pretty, it's not glamorous, but you do get a buzz off it. It's like a drug, you do get addicted to it, and you can see why. There's a stage in the film where he's begging his manager for another fight. His manager says on live TV that he should retire, and he begs him for another fight. And like, from my point of view, like, I can really understand that. Like, with my brother boxing and obviously me being surrounded by boxers, like, it is a passion. It's like if somebody told me that I could never play a role ever again in my life, I would beg them to let me.
Yeah, but at that point, if you're supposed to side with him, you're meant to think the manager's dick.
Yeah, of course. But in terms of real life, it was spread about that Lou was a massive.
Is that his manager?
Yeah. He was not a nice person.
Well, the way he came across the movie was that he just wanted to make money off him and didn't care about his.
Yeah, which is especially back then, that was a really popular thing to happen.
With Don King and stuff.
Yeah.
But
in terms of actual live boxing, it did kind of ring more so, I think, than other boxing films like Creed. I loved Creed, but some of it you could see was kind of forced. I feel like Creed isn't a good example because Creed had Tony Bellew in it, who is a real boxing champion, and he's amazing, and I felt like he done really well in the film in terms of athletes and especially boxers being in films. Like, they don't have a very good Reputation. Oh.
Just watch Mike Tyson and anything.
anything at all. But
Mike Tyson.
But no, and also in terms of Southpaw, like after seeing Southpaw, I went to the gym and I spoke to the guys about it, and I love Southpaw as a film. I think I prefer it to Bleed for This personally, and
Me too.
but the boxing wasn't boxing; it was very faked.
So was it false?
Yeah, it was very choreographed, and you could see it, and that was one of the big complaints that the guys in the gym had about it, was that it was really, really faked, and it made boxing look, even though like his face got all messed up and everything, like in real life that would have been stopped. Those fights, the way his face got messed up, would have been stopped.
Yeah,
but you're asking me how it compares to
no, I'm not having a go at you. I'm having a go at the guys though. Like, I bet they're all fans of Rocky though, and that's the exact same way. Really, they're not.
See, they were fans of the film.
Yeah.
They liked the film.
Right.
But it was just when they were talking about it on a technical level, like they felt that it was.
I suppose he's.
Whereas this film, like Bleed for This,
feels more legit.
Well, it looks like an actual boxing match.
I thought when I was watching it, out of the 4 box movies that came out in the last 2 years, Southpaw, Creed, Hands of Stone, and Bleed for This. You fell asleep during Hands of Stone, didn't you?
Yeah.
It's okay.
I was ill. Like that doesn't have any reflection on any film we watch. I fall asleep a lot.
It's the worst. It's the worst out of the 4. But out of the 4, I felt when I was watching it, I felt like this had. I mean, I don't know how much to compare it to because I've been in a couple of your brothers fights, but I don't really have a reference for it. Because I've never been a boxer or anything like that. But I from an outsider's perspective, I thought it looked most realistic in Bleed for This. In terms of contact and stuff, and the way they were moving and the footwork and
definitely.
But I listened to this other podcast called The Director's Cut. Each week there was a different director on it talking about the film, and 1 week it was Ben Younger, the guy that directed Bleed for This was on it, right? And he was talking Ben Arsehole, I thought. But anyway, he's never going to listen to this, who cares? He said that they shot the movie in like an insanely short amount of time. I don't exactly know what it was, and they didn't have time to train Miles Teller how to box or the other fighters in it, like the other actors. They were just winging it. And yeah, and like they used, like they could see. They changed a lot of the camera angles for the fights because there were a lot of wide angles, and you could tell that they didn't know what they were doing.
See, well,
so
I kind of felt that myself. Like there was points where it was like scuffles, but like not even like the camera didn't even like pan to the audience. The camera just, it was almost as if they had went out of the shot, and the camera was like filming like a blurry corner of the ring. You couldn't make anything out. You just make out like basic shapes, and you knew that it was the ring.
Yeah.
And I was like, shows the fight.
Yeah.
So that does kind of come across actually.
Did you watch this? Did you watch that interview Miles Teller when he was talking about the film, and he was saying
no, I've not watched it.
Him and how his pals Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
The two of them were training together at the time, and Michael B. Jordan kept wanting to fight. Miles Teller was like, if we hurt each other's faces, we're going to ruin the continuity of these movies. And he was like, you're such a pussy man, you just don't want to fight me. And then he never actually said if they ended up actually having a fight or not, but yeah. But yeah, I like to do them training in the gym together and stuff and getting buff together.
That. That's pretty cool. What I really liked about Michael B. Jordan's performance in Creed is you could see him struggling. I really like that. You could see him being absolutely knackered, and then when we watched him and Sylvester Stallone on Jonathan Ross just after we saw the film. No, it was Jonathan Ross. Yeah. And Sylvester Stallone made the show put on that video
of him getting knocked out.
With Bellew.
It was like a missing and a punch, and he was down.
Yeah, because like he was saying they done this so that he would know what it would feel like to be knocked out and to be in that situation, because obviously it happens in the film.
Yeah, but I don't think he was supposed to knock him out.
No, he was. Well, he was supposed to hit him.
Yeah, I don't think he was
supposed to be out cold the way that he was, but like he was supposed to hit him, and he hits him, and his head like full scale, like double backs on itself.
This Stallone kept doing the impression,
and it's like doo-doom, and then he's on the floor, and like it didn't look like Bellew hit him that hard. And I'm a big Bellew fan. I really like him. I think he's absolutely amazing guy, but he didn't hit him that. But then obviously he did.
that eye.
But
Even in slow motion,
he's that fast.
Uh-huh.
It didn't look like he hit him that hard, and then he just had this almost like a swing ball reaction,
Yeah.
where it bounced back away before he fell down. Ah, that was so funny. I absolutely loved that. So I'd be quite interested to see if there's anything like that for Blade for this.
What did you think? Clearly, the best thing in the movie were the performances. In my opinion.
Oh my god, yeah.
Definitely.
Definitely.
The standard in general for the performances. Like, Miles Teller led it, but he was backed up with Kate Scallan, Aaron Eckhart and Keir Hines, and they were all fantastic.
Oh yeah.
And then I like to use splicing the real footage. I like that.
Oh yeah, I really like
going
that.
on to Jay Leno and like the actual
And
Vinny Pazienza and that going on to
how Vinny was
Jay Leno.
the actual Vinny sometimes, and then Miles Teller the other time. But what I found,
And at the end, you saw them all talking.
Yeah. What I found amazing was there was clips of Vinny Pazienza actually speaking,
Mm-hmm.
and it still sounded like Miles Teller.
Well, that was the thing. Like, he didn't look like. I've seen photos of Pazienza like before like, on Wikipedia and stuff, but I've never seen him like close up. So when Miles Teller's playing, I just thought, he must look like they must have cast him because he looks like him. But it looks a wee tight. He's got dark hair and a moustache.
I think it was the
That's
features,
a bit the similarity.
like the features that they made him have, but even his hair was a bit too dark.
Yeah, but his voice was. If you shut your eyes, it was absolutely spot on. See when Aaron Kurt's character Kevin. What's it, Rooney? When he was talking at the end as well, like I don't know what that guy sounded like, but God, he was.
Yeah, because there was like a clip of him speaking at the end.
Extremely close.
Yeah.
I think it was extremely close to his voice. But yeah, I don't know. I thought it was good. What did you think about everything but the performances? Because that's my issue. I thought the performances were amazing, but I feel like you strip the performances away, right? You cast other actors that aren't as capable in those roles, and that film goes down for a 7.5 to a 5.5.
See,
to a 4.5.
the acting brings it up a lot more than a 7.5 for me. The acting brings it up to an easy 8.5 to a 9.
Nah, I don't
purely
think so.
Because
that's
like,
Southpaw territory.
No, but purely because when he's obviously incapable of moving and he's like really, really badly hurt, and he goes to the weight bench and then he tries to lie down on the weight bench and dinks his head, and there isn't screws in his head. There isn't screws even pressed into his head. They will just be barely touching his head. And the way he portrayed that pain, it made my insides all like cling together.
Oh, you were excuse me, it was really.
It was like horrible. And then when he tried to lift just the bar, that boy was built for that film. Yeah. That boy could have lifted that bar with his pinky in real life.
Yeah.
But I 1,000,000% believed that he could not lift that bar.
I think, though, the best thing about that scene in terms of his performance was the frustration. And like just through the film, because I feel like they really got across how determined to a fault almost Pazienza was as a person.
Yeah.
Like, I know to shit out some people how determined he was.
They got all his faults because they got how ingrained it was to him. Like, all the original things that he was doing in a fight.
What do you mean?
Where he wouldn't move out the way.
Yeah.
Like, quite often,
he would take an extra punch, he would swing an extra punch.
Yeah, you would get that. You get that with boxers. That is a thing with boxers. Like, my brother especially, my brother...
Like a pride thing?
Yeah, not even like a pride thing, but like, it riles them up to hit harder. But what boxers often forget is, until they get a good enough trainer to point out to them, if you take the hit, that's giving him points. They forget that. Yeah. They forget that. And the fact that all these really bad habits were so ingrained into him from his dad, because obviously we've seen it was his dad that done all of his training like throughout his life up until the accident happened.
Yeah.
Just before the accident happened, just
Angela,
after his big loss at the start of the film. And all these bad habits are ingrained into him, and you can see why, because his dad is a really controlling guy and everything like that. But that was what was impressive. The fact that you've seen how hard it was for Aaron Eckhart to try and change him that was pretty good. But you also see that struggle in Southpaw as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like an original thing.
No, yeah. Yeah, been doing it since box movies were about. Yeah, but see that podcast last night, director, he pure slagged off Angelo Pazienza.
Really?
Because Angelo wrote the original script for the movie. He wrote the original screenplay.
Mm-hmm. Oh, did he? His dad? Did he write that? Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's directed a movie and stuff as well.
Really?
Yeah, I looked up my IMDb. It's got a crap rating. I can't remember what it's called, but it got a crap rating. So he's got a story credit on the film. Like
Right.
it's written by like his name's at the bottom, and that what's his name? Ben Younger was like, oh, I pure totally undeserved in my opinion. His name shouldn't have been on the poster and stuff.
Oh my
Nothing
God.
get kept in for his version, and it was like, we just made a film about the guy's dad, and he's still alive. Do you know what I mean? So why are you slagging him like that? But I thought it was really bitter and weird. I was like, what are you doing? Shut up. Be more grown up and professional in that, you arse.
I hate that. I hate unprofessional directors.
But he did say sat and watched the movie, and then he said like, what did Angelo and what was his mum's name again? Fuck.
Oh no. You always ask me these questions. It makes me forget.
The interviewer asked
Louise
Louise
Pizzian.
asked how they felt when they saw it. And he was like, oh, I don't know, I've not sat and watched it with him, and I don't know, I care, to be honest. The only person I care about is Vinny. And he was like, I showed it to Vinny when the final cut of the film was in, and he says he cried all through it.
Oh, that's
But he said he cried at the bits you didn't expect. Like, he didn't cry at the big fights. He didn't cry like during the
No.
car accident.
no, I
But
don't
he
think
cried like when his dad was giving him a bath,
Yeah.
and like scenes like that.
Yeah, because that's embarrassing.
Like, yeah, like the
That's
home
like-
scenes and stuff, and
That's something really difficult to show, especially coming from somebody who is a boxer, who is extremely
proud.
proud and,
Yeah.
and known to be so strong and hard, and don't mess with me, I'm a boxer.
Yeah,
But his dad had to give him a bath.
yeah.
And he was what age was he when he done it? Like 30?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Late 20s, 30, I think,
Yeah. Like that's like, imagine your dad giving you a bath.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's, and I know you're younger than that, but like, that's still...
Yeah, and yeah,
Still
yeah.
not...
Yeah, degrading, yeah, of course. Yeah, it kind of reminds you like when you see like somebody get an old person a bath.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
can't
that's
bath
exactly what it was.
themselves,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it was. And it didn't, like, I said to you when that scene came on, I went, that looks like the most horrible thing in the world. I whispered that to you in the cinema, and
Yeah.
it was just, that was something that really struck me, I think. And I think it strikes the audience, to be honest. I think obviously that's why I did it. But it was really, really hard to see. So I can imagine him crying at that, and like the bit where his girlfriend's on the bed and she ends up leaving him because he's got the scaffolding around his
Yeah,
face.
his head,
and
yeah.
yeah.
I don't know, you're still not convinced, but I think Performance is incredible, right? But see when you really look at the direction, the score, the lighting, the editing,
Yeah, I have
wasn't
to agree
impressed.
with that.
Even the
yeah.
cinematography, up until the last fight with Duran was very well shot, I thought. Extremely well shot, a lot of silhouette
That way
shots,
was good.
and it was extremely well done. But up until then, I wasn't impressed at all with cinematography. It was quite
Yeah.
lazy, straight on shots, I thought.
Yeah,
Um,
I have to agree with that.
and I wasn't impressed with the editing until, spoilers, go and see the film, right, before you listen to this.
You should have probably
said it
put that at the start.
Yeah. Minor, we won't pure spoil it, we'll just, and plus the truth,
Oh,
it's a
really?
true,
Kind of spoil.
and plus it's a true story.
It's a true
so
story. Like, you know
go,
that he doesn't
go and
die.
read the Wikipedia article, aye. During the last fight, when he's getting his arse handed to him, and it cuts as a wee cheese line, we'll just get to that in a second. But the bit with the bit with the edit was clever when it showed you all his journey to get there, because it created
I think that
a
was probably some of the
climax.
best shots in the film.
it created the climax. That edit was good, I thought. But up until the last fight,
And when you...
I don't think there was anything.
Yeah,
I could have shot that film and scored it, and
I think you could have done that better.
do you know what I
to
mean?
be
Like,
honest.
these are high paid Hollywood. I know they're on a tight schedule, and the guy said that in the podcast,
I
right?
don't find that
But-
an excuse, to be honest.
But yeah, until then they never stepped up their game
Mhm.
like that.
But no, that bit was so good because it goes in time with the smacks of the pads.
Yeah, that's right.
So like,
Yeah, because he was in time of the music, but it wasn't any music there. Yeah, it
no,
was,
there wasn't any music.
It was noise of him.
There was breathing,
Yeah,
and there was the
Yeah.
pads, and like when you hit pads properly, it makes a fantastic noise.
yeah, like a slapping sound.
It's like a boom almost,
Uh-huh.
and that worked really well, I thought. Because it was like 1, 2, 3, and it was like 3 different shots of him being quite pathetic and
Yeah.
down in the dumps and stuff, and it showed like it worked really well. I know it was cheesy, but I really liked it because that would be what was going through his head. Do you know what I mean? Because at that point in the fight, he's a wee bit scared because he might get hurt, and that's, I feel, was the first time you see the fear coming out in him. Because obviously when he's trying to spar with the guys in the gym, he's like, spar with me, spar with me, spar with me, and like, nah. And he's getting quite annoyed because it's like, listen, I'm no deed, like...
He says that, I'm sick about it, like
yeah, and it's like, spar with me, like, don't be fear. And then that boy gets and spars him, and then he hits him, and then there's that moment of, oh my god, is he alright? And then he is alright. But he's alright, he doesn't get scared because he's so determined.
Yeah.
And then when he's in that fight, you could feel how hesitant he was. You could feel how scared he was of moving the way that
That you
Aaron
would
Eckhart
normally,
wanted him to.
naturally, yeah.
And the way that he had done the previous fights that he had won really successfully. And then you see all these thoughts going through his head, and all these thoughts are showed to you. And then that's what changes him. I don't think it's necessarily Aaron Eckhart's speech. I think Aaron Eckhart's speech was put there as exposition, so that it wasn't just showing a montage. But you could still see that thought process going through Miles
To me,
Taylor's
that's-
head, I think.
That's just lazy writing, though.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. Like, there could have been a whole other creative way that they could have shown that montage and shown all the things that he went through, because I liked that sequence, don't get me wrong, I liked that sequence, that was good editing, that was good writing in a way, but
How we got there was total Hollywood fluff. Like,
just having the speech was...
I feel like, and I'm so disappointed as well, because I feel like Aaron Eckhart gave one of the best performances I've seen, man. I was going to say like in a long time, but probably whatever. I don't say
I would have to agree
maybe
with
it's
that.
not his best, but it's up there.
I would have to agree with that, yeah.
And it reminds you, how good a character actor he is. Like, a lot of times you see him as kind of a handsome action hero, but every now and again there's a film like that, and you're like, God, he totally disappears out of that role, and you forget it's Aaron Eckhart, and he really sells it.
And
He's good. He's like John Goodman that way. He's good at disappearing into a role. Do you know what I mean?
What I like about him is he's not a method actor.
Yeah,
He just does it.
just does it.
It's
Yeah.
his job. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I like that.
But that speech, oh my God, show me who you are. I turned around to you and I was like, did they just really put that in, did they? That's not how they're going to end this movie, and it was, and it was so unnecessary. And
I think it was unnecessary. Yeah,
and it was so out the blue, like the tone.
It wasn't.
No,
out the blue.
it was. I don't think it fitted the tone at all. I thought the rest of the movie, the tone was akin to Southpaw or $1 Million Baby or the more serious box movies, and that
You said that at the time. It was very $1 Million Baby.
and that took it from there to Rocky 4, where he's like passing about an American flag and all that. Do you know what I mean? Like, if he dies, he dies. It became like a really cheesy.
Yeah.
And it was like, where did that come from? Like, it was fine. You didn't need to do that. I don't know. I don't know.
I felt the
why that
montage
in
was
there.
really strong, but the speech definitely.
It
I
was
don't think
and
even.
it put such a sour taste in my mouth coming out of it.
Yeah, I don't even think it necessarily
brought
weakened
the score down in my
just
mind.
that speech, just that scene. I think it weakened the film.
Yeah, it was abysmal.
And don't get me wrong, Aaron Eckhart delivered the speech well.
Yeah, it wasn't his fault. He was doing the best he could with the material we had. It was just
bad
yeah,
material.
it was that line in the script was just.
Which is about that's the only bit out of Angela's that lived. The director is totally justified.
I don't know. I thought it was god awful. But yeah, I don't know. It was pretty good overall.
I liked it a lot. I did. I thought Katie Sagal's performance of it was really good.
It was good to see her, and still doing matriarch role, but not that feisty, fighty everybody.
Yeah.
It was a kind of more down to earth, grounded mother,
And it wasn't even
genuine, like caring mother.
like obviously you're comparing that to Sons of Anarchy, or like her playing Gemma and Sons,
Yeah.
but like I watched 8 Simple Rules,
Right.
and she's not even as fluffy as Kate in 8 Simple Rules.
Mm-hmm.
Like don't get me wrong, I love him. 8 Simple Rules. I really, really do. And I've never cried so hard as when the dad died and
Yeah.
that, and all of the actresses in that TV show gave a really good performance because it touched them
Yeah.
so much. But it wasn't even as fluffy as that. She was more like Mama, I think. And bleeds for this because she wouldn't watch him, but she would still support him a lot. And she was the strongest member of that household, I think. I feel like Angelo was too weak. Because Angelo would go out and he would have his blowouts and cheat.
Were they I thought they were divorced.
At the start, I thought they were divorced, but
And
no,
then
they were together.
Were they still
Yeah,
married?
yeah.
Because I thought they were divorced, and then when he broke his neck, fractured his neck, they kind of came together and he lived with him again and looked after him.
No. They're still. I think they're still married now.
Right. Jesus, because you see him sleep with strippers and all at the start.
Yeah. And then
throwing money away.
And then when he comes down and finds Vinny working out in the basement, and he's like,
"Get out of my this is my roof. Get out of my house." Yeah.
And he's what are you doing? What are you doing? Vinny goes, "Well, I can ask you the same thing. Where have you been?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "What?" And you think, "Oh, he's gonna hit him." But to me, that just shows how weak Vinny is. Not Vinny, sorry. That shows how weak Angelo is. And he's not. He makes out as if he's this big family man, but he's not. He's only in it because he's successful. And because he's doing it the way that he wants him to do it. Like, he's not even in his corner at the end. Do you know what I mean? And that his mum is a much stronger unit. I feel like his sister's a really strong unit as well.
Yeah, the director slagged her off in that movie as well.
Really?
Yeah, said that she was a total bitch and stuff. And
you can't do
although
that.
apparently she said, this is according to him right off, she said the interviews about it, and she was like, "No, I don't want to see the movie, I don't care," and whatever. And he was like, "Right, okay." And then they said, what about John? Does he want to see it? And she was like, "Oh, John, that idiot died years ago." And he was like, "Really?" And she was like, Yeah, he took a heart attack." And he was like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry." And she went, "Oh no, it was great. We were getting a divorce and it was going to cost us a fortune, and then he died. So it was the best thing he ever did for me."
Oh my god.
Apparently that's what she said to him on the phone. Well, that's true or not, I don't know, but yeah, according to Ben Younger,
well,
that's what she said.
See, with the way that she was in the film, there's a part of me that can kind of believe that.
See, I think it's quite surprising. Like, I don't think she was that cold in the film. I thought she was actually warmer.
There's parts where she's.
But yeah,
cold.
Maybe she's changed over the years. I don't know, but that's what it said.
I suppose some people can do that to you, though, can't they?
That guy John apparently did hard thing down. She said the best thing I've happened to.
You never know. You might make me that better.
I have a take card. You're so right. Talking about crying though.
Yeah.
You didn't cry during this.
No.
And did you cry during Creed when Stallone was sick? No.
Not when Stallone was sick, but I'm pretty sure there was a point where I cried. I usually cry at box
office. And you sobbed during Southpaw.
Oh yeah, who didn't sob during Southpaw? Like, honestly, you don't sob at anything.
And you cried during Million Dollar Baby because that's depressing as well.
That's just really sad.
But does that have an effect on the film, do you think?
No.
If you don't cry, is that a standard that you think
but
should hit? Or?
I didn't. No, I don't think so.
No. I don't know. I have my own way of ranking. The way it makes me feel like that's how I
no,
rank
it
movies,
still made me feel like it still made me feel
hit
really
the
strong
feels.
feelings
Right.
and stuff. But I didn't. I felt horrible. Like, it made me feel a bit sick sometimes. Like the way that he would move, and I felt very conscious about the way that I was holding myself. But I didn't feel at any point where I was getting emotional.
I actually went in expecting more Million Dollar Baby, more sad, depressing neck break times. I thought it was quite brief, but I was glad it was. Like when I was watching it during, well, in a way, I was.
It's lighter.
I was glad it was
think
because
it's purposely
I had
lighter.
been at work all day. I was really tired. I couldn't be bored dealing with this really long, drawn out, depressing neck break movie. Do you know what I mean? Because that's what I kind of thought we were going to see. Like, but you know what I mean? Like Million Dollar Baby, or like these movies. Whereas it was only really, it was a third of the movie. It was the middle act. See,
What was when he broke his neck?
Yeah. The
No.
epic period. Yeah.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it
It
was.
was very near the start of the film.
See,
It was a lot closer to the start of the film than I thought it was going to be.
I thought it was. The director actually talks about it as well in that podcast. I thought it was ages before he broke his neck. I thought it was loads of film before he broke his neck, and I thought it was maybe at the halfway point. He said originally it was a halfway point, and testimonies he said that was way too long, like, because they felt like he'd already seen a boxing movie, and then he broke his neck, and then it was like
another film
sequel,
altogether.
yeah. So he brought it back to the start of the second act, like the end of the first act. I thought. I felt it was maybe, I don't know, maybe it was just because I was tired, but so yeah, if you look at it from that perspective, I think there's
It was a lot closer to the start of the film. I thought
the first act of the movie is, you know, him building up and stuff, and then there's a neck break period, and he's in his garage training, and then the last third is him winning and coming back. And
Yeah.
stuff. So yeah, I think it was.
It goes through the seasons.
But I thought it was going to be 10% at the start, setting up the character and stuff. 75-80% on my neck sore and I'm training, and then 10% at the end here I'm winning. I thought it was going to be the vast majority of the film.
Really?
Yeah. I was glad that it wasn't, but in a way I was glad that it wasn't, but I feel like maybe this is me being like self-pitiful, but if I was Vinny, I don't know if I would feel like, does that justify what he went through? Just the third of the movie. I mean, it's up to him. Maybe he would rather look back and celebrate it
Yeah.
than look back and be really depressed.
It's less than a third of his life, though.
Yeah. Aye, but
So that's kind of the
but
way
the
that you
film
have to
takes
look at it.
place over like 3 years, 4 years. Like,
Not as much as that, I don't think.
is it not? It's
I
all.
don't think so.
That's right, because he kept saying that in the film. They were like, it was like 4 days after the accident. He
It
was like
was-
waking up and walking like from his car to the house. Like, he didn't want the wheelchair.
Well, he
Oh,
got
like 4 days
he got
after.
the
I was like,
operation
what the hell?
the third day after
Yeah.
the accident,
Yeah,
and then it was like this. He was in the hospital for like the 3 days, and then it was like the 6th day
right.
after the accident. But like
But still, I thought it was like,
But
I thought like if they hadn't come up and said
neck
that,
break
I would have
didn't
thought that was like a
affect
month.
his legs or anything.
Yeah, I know. Well,
So,
could,
that is
that's what they're saying.
that's the
off,
real
yeah.
time scale that it was.
Yeah, I know. No, I know.
And
But I'm just saying, I was surprised at how
Yeah.
quickly. You
Yeah.
know. But then I
it
think,
also shows how much of a determined person he was as well, though.
and I think there's something to that theory, that the kind of placebo effect, that if you tell yourself you're all right, you do physically heal faster. I
Yeah,
think that there
I
could be
think
something
so.
to that. Like, because he was so, I need to be okay, I'm fine, whatever, blah, telling himself
And,
that.
like, the
I genuinely think his body
doctors-
was like, right, okay, then let's speed this up, because
Yeah.
I think people would lie down, like, probably I would, if he
Like,
was telling himself it would
yeah,
take
yeah.
longer to heal.
I have to agree.
I
with
mean,
that.
it's also, you know, the safer, more expected option. You know, you're a bit of a psycho if you're lifting, doing bench
Weights,
presses
yeah,
like 2 weeks after it. But
no, it wasn't. It was 6 months because the
aye,
doctors
6
told
months,
him.
that's right.
The doctors told him it
That's right.
is at least 6
6 months
months
before,
until
yeah,
like your neck fuses back to your spine, and it gets to the 6th month, like the end of the 6th month, and
Yeah.
he's like, right, that's enough.
yeah.
Like, let's do this.
Uh-huh.
And kind of seeing how determined he was as a person, like, I can totally believe that. Like, I find that like extremely believable. That he was
Yeah.
only off it for 6
Yeah.
months.
But it's just in terms of what's like physically possible, because it's a true story, and that you just think, God, it's. But no, I mean,
And you can tell that he's still in pain
what do you mean?
when he's starting training again. You can
Oh,
tell
yeah,
that
yeah,
he's still in a lot of pain.
Yeah, of course.
And I don't know, like, I really like Miles Teller. I really, really like him, and the more work that he does, the more respect that I've got for him. Like, take away Fantastic Four, but the more he does, the more I like him. And I liked him from the first time I seen him when I was in Footloose. No, when he was in like the Footloose remake. I thought he was probably the best thing in that film.
I talk about this in my review as well. I see how he's
Fantastic.
the first kind of couple of times I saw him, I thought, you know, this is just another fucking pound shop Jonah Hill character. But you know, I now realise he was just doing the kind of like that and 21 and Over and stuff. He was just doing films like that
21
and
was
Project
a
X.
pretty good film.
He was just doing films like that so that he could
I
get.
forgot he was
yeah,
in that.
so that he could get to the stage that he could make choices and say, right, I want to do this
I want to do
role, I
this
want to
one.
do. You know, he was trying to just get his name out there in Hollywood, which makes sense in hindsight.
21 and
But-
Over is a really funny film.
But since then, he has done fantastic films.
I really
so
like him. The more I see him, the more I like him.
But yeah, Whiplash and War
I
Dogs
do
and
find
this, it was.
that he consistently, and like I feel quite bad for this, but he consistently gets casted in car crash films.
Yeah, Whiplash and this. And
And
Spectacular Now.
Spectacular Now, that's what it is. And
yeah, That's alright film. That's quite good.
That is a good film. I was really surprised you liked that film, but I liked that film too.
Yeah, it's good.
It's very sad. But like, for anyone who doesn't know this, Miles Taylor was actually in a car crash
Yeah, that's why he's got all the
in real
scars
life,
and stuff.
and that's
on
why
his
he's got all the scars on his face
face. Yeah,
and things like
and his
that.
nose is kind of broken. You can see.
And he's constantly cast in these films. And I don't know, maybe it's just me.
That's a coping mechanism, or do you think he picks scripts,
I don't know.
picks damaged characters
I
that
don't know.
have been through similar experiences?
Well, if it was
I
me,
mean,
I think
if
I would be like, stop giving me these films.
No, but I think if you're an actor, you should take stuff. I mean, you know, you need to keep your real life and your professional life separate, but instead of looking at it as a bad thing that happens, a negative, take it as a positive and use it as,
Oh, yeah,
do you know what I mean? Use it as a tool in your acting. And that's obviously what he's doing.
100%.
You know,
I mean, that's
he's
a
been through it, so
Stanislavski
he knows how
method.
to grab it and put it into his film.
Like, that's a Stanislavski method, like emotional and physical recall. Like,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
go
like bad
into
memories and
somewhere
shit,
in your head and you find something, but the healthy way of doing it is it being something that's resolved. So, like, not
Yeah, but
something...
he's clearly over his car crash.
Yeah, it's not something that can open a can of worms
It's
and,
still
like,
going on, aye.
takes you on this spiral downwards into, like, a depression or whatever. Like, and it's been done. It's definitely
People
been
like to say
done.
and stuff
I
about
mean,
it and-
look at Heath Ledger.
Mm.
Like, he opened whatever kind of worms he had to open to do that
Several, I think.
phenomenal performance, but it cost him his life.
Yeah.
And there's so many actors that it's done to, and I've seen firsthand so many actors that have went down a certain road and it's just been too upsetting to come back from. Like, we've sat and done sessions of it, and like, people open these things and they feel like they can talk about these things, and then when they start talking about these things they realise that they can't. And there is a healthiness to it. There definitely is a healthiness to it, because it can really help you get through stuff. But
Go and see a therapist. Don't do it on a camera in front of millions of people. Basically, that's what you're saying.
yeah, like, make sure it's something that
Or
has
in front of a
happened
stage.
to you,
On a stage in front of 1,000 people.
that you've dealt with
Uh-huh.
in your mind. Make sure it's in a healthy environment that you do it in. It's with people and actors and directors that you feel that you can trust. And if not, this is kind of a cheat, and I think I would probably be stabbed by one of my lecturers if they hear me say this, but if you can't think of a memory or anything that you've done with or that you've dealt with, take something from someone else.
Mm.
Like, take something from someone...
That's Courtney's acting tip of the week.
I'll do one of those weekly if you want. Take something from someone close to you who has unfortunately been through something or dealt with something, and take it from them, because the important thing is that you're healthy and that you can deal with it, instead of you being unhealthy and you're thinking, no, I can't take
And
that
doing a
because
Heath
it's
Ledger.
someone else.
Mm.
And doing a Heath Ledger or a Honey, I Shrunk the Kids or whatever.
I shot the kids.
What's his name?
Rick Moranis.
Yeah,
He quite had knock after his wife though.
wrong guy. Matthew Broderick. He accidentally killed people in a car crash.
In Ireland, him and Jennifer Grey.
Yeah, and then he done a film after it about a car crash.
Did they?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I know he done a car insurance advert. he done an advert for car insurance, and people over in America were writing in petition and that saying this has to come off the telly, because why would you buy car insurance after him? You know what I mean? He was playing Ferris Bueller in the advert, but like nowadays he was like 40s, 50s, whatever.
Oh my god.
And he's wearing like red dressing gown and stuff.
Oh my god.
But he was trying to sell car insurance.
Why would you agree to that?
It's getting hilarious, isn't it?
That's like something you would do.
I know, it's like an internet meme, do you know what I mean? It's like a joke. Like,
That's like
and
something
they
that you would do as a
They actually
person.
straight up did that.
Just to mess with people. Oh my god, that's horrific.
Anyway, on that note, should we end this? We've been talking for half an hour.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, so that was the first episode. Like I said, normally this is probably a bit better structured, but I think for a first episode that went okay.
I think so. I like
So next week it's Star Wars and maybe Fantastic Beasts, depending on what we see. So we'll do either both or one or the other. And it'll be interesting in the sense that you think that Star Wars is the cash in, and I think that Fantastic Beasts is the
Oh
cash in.
yeah, that's true.
So that would be
Yeah, that's true.
that'd be a cool kind of
Mhm.
conversation to have.
I also feel like the cast in Fantastic Beasts is better than the one in Rogue One, though.
Well, yeah, because who are they? Well, Forrest Whitaker. Rather than that,
Felicity Jones.
What else has she been in?
She's been in a bunch of stuff.
Donnie Yen, I
I
suppose.
do feel like she is really brave though,
In what sense?
because she has to be out promoting this film, and she just finished another film and just lost Anton Yelchin.
With a couple?
Yeah,
All
she
right.
was his girlfriend.
Alright,
Yeah,
I didn't know
Yeah.
that. Who else from Star Space? Eddie Redmayne, Ron Perlman,
Colin
Colin Farrell.
Thingy Magic.
So yes.
And
Johnny Depp's coming into it in the sequel.
Johnny Depp's in it at some point. Yeah.
He's going to be in the.
And
He's
there's
Grindelwald or something.
loads of people.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about it more next week.
I'm excited.
Do you want to do one of the games before we go?
Yeah, sure.
Right, okay. We decided to extend the podcast, but we're going to play a game at the end of each week.
Oh, actually, I wanted to ask you what you thought of the cinematography of Bleed for this, because you talk about cinematography a lot. You're quite good at that.
Yeah, I thought it was mediocre up until the last fight. And then I thought in the last fight it was extremely well shot.
Well,
But
thank you for that extremely in-depth
I wasn't
answer.
sure. Well, I talked to it earlier though, I talked to myself.
Okay, carry on. What game do you play?
I'm going to say you pick. Either
I
you
don't
pick
know.
20 questions, who am I, or the movie actor game. Where we get an actor and go through the movies.
I feel like I'm very bad at that, but we'll go for that one. Movie actor game.
Or we can do the fuck Mary Kill one if you want. Right, okay. We should really have prepared an actor beforehand.
It's the first episode, why
That
not?
would be too easy.
You can think of the actor though, because I can't.
Let's do Brad Pitt.
Okay.
Okay, Fight Club.
So do I have to keep saying his movies?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we both say the movies until somebody.
What
We
was?
do this all the time.
I know, but what was the game that we played where it was you? Somebody said a film and somebody else said an actor and somebody else said a film.
Oh
and an
yeah, we can
actor.
do that. Yeah.
No, but we'll do this one. We'll do the one that we started.
Wait.
Sorry.
Okay, right. Go back and sneeze. Okay, I'll leave that in when I'm editing. I'm not having more anticipation for it in my life. Right, go. Start. You're trying to style so you can think of film. Fight Club.
No, I'm not. What age was he?
7.
I was gonna go for that. Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Curious Case of Benjamin Button.
I love that film.
I've not actually seen it.
We need to forget The Walking Dead, sweetheart. Guess what we watch? Every Brad Pitt film has just left my head.
How you doing? This is bad podcasting.
Shut up.
You give up?
No.
Come on. It's Brad Pitt.
Megamind.
Okay. You went for that over
Shut
Ocean's
up.
11, but okay.
Oh, Ocean's 12.
I'll leave that. But
Thanks.
Burn After Reading.
I'm doing so well. I'm usually really good at this game. I'm gonna go Ocean's 13.
Yay. You got it there.
Shut up.
Why am I stalling? It's Brad Pitt. Come on. Jesus, Danny. Get your shit together.
Oh god.
Why am I stalling? See if we were on the phone doing this.
You be looking up on IMDb and me on loudspeaker.
Why? I'm going to be walking along the road at midnight looking up movies on IMDb. Shut up. If anyone's going to do it, it's going to be you because you're in the house and you can lie in bed and do it.
I've actually never done that.
Hmm.
That's the first time I've thought
That's
of
what
it.
it sounds like when she lies.
Oh, is it? Oh, is it?
Now it's on recording forever on the internet forever.
So you can
Everybody's
refer
gonna
back
know.
to it?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
And evidence. When you steal my money and leave me.
Definitely.
Where were we? I was doing a film.
Hmm.
God, he's done more voices than that. Nah, this is taking so long. I know there's more, but I'm not going to extend.
Why can you not just cut out?
I'm not going to go through and edit. You kidding me on? You'll be
Probably.
lucky if I edit out, like... I'm not going to edit the sneeze or anything. I'm too lazy. You're lucky I'm splicing this together.
Wow.
And turn the volume up a bit. That's the
Well,
extent
how-
I go to.
How lucky are we?
Right, do you have one? Right, okay.
No, I don't.
That's shocking. They'll go
That's
people.
awful.
If anyone listens to this, they're going to be screaming at their phones or their iPods or whatever they're listening to this on.
That's terrible. Right. IMDb him so that we can embarrass ourselves.
I'll try and think of another actor while you're doing that because that didn't last very long.
No.
Or we'll do the movie actor again.
Oh my
Like
god.
the one you what?
You're actually going to greet Inglourious Bastards. Moneyball. I lied! The one that was literally just out, although I did make a point of not saying that because I don't like it. The Big Short, Fury, The Audition,
Stop.
12 Years a Slave,
Hurting me.
The King's Lie,
I've seen that.
Killing Them Softly.
Oh yeah. That's okay. It's reborn.
Happy Feet too. Oh,
Isn't it happy?
yeah. There's a button. There's 13. I don't know what that says. Troy.
Troy.
I love that film.
See, that's going to sound insane on the recording because you were just mumbling and you just went, Troy! And all people really shit themselves. What's she saying? Turn up and all that. Troy! I just knocked Mike over.
Oh, well done you. See, you need to edit that out.
No, what?
Sinbad. He was Sinbad in Sinbad.
The cartoon?
Yeah. He was in Friends. Spy
Yeah, it's a
Game.
TV show. Right.
Snatch!
Oh.
Meet Joe Black.
Oh, aye.
Sleepers.
Sleepers, the one with the
Don't
kids
try and
the
say it
Kevin
as if you
Bacon
just
and
thought
the
of it
De Niro
yourself.
and-
That's a horrible film. I absolutely hate that film. Interview with a Vampire. I'm surprised you didn't see that. True Romance.
Oh, gee, stop, Courtney. You're hurting my feelings. Right, that was embarrassing. We need to
That was
redeem.
really
We
bad.
need to make up for this.
That was really bad.
What about Morgan Freeman?
Ah, yay! Okay, Shawshank Redemption.
Nobody's going to get that reference except that's a personal joke. We're not supposed to do it on the
Morgan
podcast.
Freeman.
But, you said Shawshank. Okay. Batman Begins.
7.
Bruce Almighty. You're not drying up for Morgan Freeman this early. Screw you. I will fall out with you if you've just
I
dried up
am so hungover.
Don't care.
I'm so
So am I.
tired. No, you're not.
I was
You
hungover
slept
yesterday.
until like 1 o'clock today. I had to get
slept
up
until
at
10
half past
o'clock and I didn't
6.
go to bed till 2.
I
I sat with my dad watching telly.
Well, that's your issue. I had to get up at 6. You got up and played video games.
I did. And
Yeah.
my jammies until 3:30. It
Yeah.
was great. Right. Stop stalling.
I'm
Morgan
not.
Freeman. Go on. Just see a Batman film.
The second one.
The second one.
Dark Knight. That one.
Unforgiven. It's a great film. Have you seen Unforgiven?
I don't think
We
so.
should watch that. It's the first movie that Clint Eastwood directed.
Not before we watch Benjamin Button.
Okay.
Because we've been saying for like
Years.
The 4.5
literally
years that
years.
we've been going
Yeah.
that we're going to watch Benjamin
Yeah.
Button.
There's Rocky having his 2 cents. Right, we got interrupted there by the dog, so let's just carry on that Morgan Freeman round never happened because it was really bad on your part and I
Shut
totally
up.
want it. We
You-
both dried up on Brad Pitt.
You said Evan Almighty.
He's what? He's in that?
Yeah, but that wasn't like an obvious like popular film. That's
Yeah, but-
that's a very bad film.
Yeah, but it's still a Morgan Freeman film.
It's a Steve Carell film.
It's still a Morgan Freeman film. What was one he was in recently? Had dreadlocks. It was really bad. He was also in Lucy. That was another really bad film he was in.
That was a really bad film. He had dreadlocks.
He was in something recently, and it was like no, no, it was an old timey thing.
I thought of another one.
What?
White House Down. No, Olympus Has Fallen. Wrong film. They're the exact same
Yeah, they're
film,
the
just
same
one's
film.
better.
He was in one recently. And it was an old film. It wasn't Hercules, but it was like it was like a time like that, like 300 or no. That was was that a cute this year? It was crap. Does that ring any bells? No.
Quite a lot of films came out this year and were crap.
Somebody email us and tell us. Right. So should we just say goodbye? Do you have any actually, we're score bleeds for this. But we'll just score it.
Based on the film alone,
Just overall. Don't drag it out. Sorry, go on. Sorry, darling.
can I please
Yes.
review the
You can
film?
have your say.
Thank you.
You can review the film. on
Just
the
because
Reviews
I'm not as
podcast.
one-dimensional as you are, like, it's cool. Based on the film alone,
Mhm.
thanks,
Yes.
not taking into account the phenomenal performances, I'd probably give it a 4. Maybe a 5. Because I
Right.
like the story.
Right. But
With the acting involved, I'd give it an 8.5.
that's your final score.
Yeah,
8.5.
8.5.
I'm pretty sure I went with 7.5 in the review.
I'm pretty sure you said that to me
Yeah.
and were wrong tonight, so.
I was wrong. Oh, okay. Yeah, my opinion is wrong.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. My opinion's never wrong.
As always. Always wrong.
Yeah, so back next week with Star Wars and Fantastic Beasts. I will
Mostly Fantastic Beasts.
get around to making a logo for this podcast. I'll make a Facebook page. I'll make a Twitter.
If you want.
I'll make an email address.
Are we making a Tumblr?
I'll just change the Tumblr that I've got to the road.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, fine.
I'm not going to copy all the
I
reviews.
wanted
across.
my own, but that's cool.
Unless you want to put them on your Tumblr.
Whatever. No, my Tumblr's my Tumblr.
Sorry.
I think you'll find I'll be reviewing my own stuff on
Okay.
and talking
I'm
about.
sorry. Sometimes I forget
stuff
you're
that's
an independent
important.
person and you're not just...
I'm not
a
like an
sidekick to
extension
me.
of you.
Yeah, it's
I am
strange.
my own person.
It's weird. I don't like it.
I always have
Nobody
been.
else has their own life when I'm not around. So
My
when
own
I'm there,
person.
they kid on. It's like the Truman Show. So when I'm there,
Ah.
I'm more comfortable like that. That scares the shit out of some people that release like the Truman Show. I love that idea that everything revolves around me.
I know it does. It's my birthday tomorrow, but I'm still buying you food.
But it's not your birthday because it's in the script for my life.
Right.
Do you know?
Right. Okay.
So that I would buy you presents and I could do things to do your birthday. That's why.
Ah.
That's why it's your birthday. It's not because you were born that day or
No.
anything like. That's
No.
not important. No.
No.
Going into this before she slaps me. Yeah. So see you next week, I suppose. I'm sorry the game went so badly. We'll do better with that as
We
well
will do better
in
with
future,
that.
and it will be more structured. I think.
Hopefully.
I say that and then I'll get lazy and
Yeah.
not bother.
And you
But
do that a lot
do that a lot.
with life.
Bye.